After years of denying their existence, humans are finally starting to accept the truth. Cryptids are hiding among us.
Shit.
From dense forests to towering mountains.
Oh, what the hell? He's right there.
Yo! What the
Get ready to witness some shocking sighting of disguising creatures that will leave your jaw dropped. A hiker, while exploring the woods, saw a giant figure sitting next to the trees. At first, it looked like a bear, but nope, guys. Its body was more ape-like, covered in brown fur. The figure stood out against the forest backdrop. Yes, you guessed it right. It was Bigfoot, the legendary being of the woods. It seemed at ease, relaxing in what appeared to be its natural home. For the hiker, it wasn't just an ordinary adventure. It was a moment that would stay with him forever. Stalker Bigfoot. A hiker wandered through the forest, feeling an uneasy sense that someone was watching him. He kept looking around, expecting to see nothing, but then his eyes locked onto a large black figure peeking from behind a tree. The moment he saw it, he knew what he had to do. Without hesitation, he turned and ran. The figure disappearing behind the tree as he fled, but it remained in his mind. Why had it been watching him? That stayed with him, and it was all he needed to make sure he'd never set foot in those woods again. Idaho Bigfoot. An ATV rider was cruising through the woods of Idaho, enjoying the peaceful views, when suddenly he came to a halt. A giant figure crossed in front of him. From its size and movements, he immediately knew what it was. A woods giant, much like an ape, moving through the trees. The creature didn't need an introduction. Its presence was unmistakable. Recognizing its nature, the rider quickly turned his ATV around and sped away. Knowing better than to stay too close. Bigfoot encounter. Two hunters were out hunting in the woods when they spotted a figure in black standing behind the trees. Most people would have run, but the hunters were determined to figure out what they were seeing.
Give me the camera.
They chased after the creature, thinking they could catch up to it. However, as soon as they started running, the creature quickly moved, sprinting away from them. No matter how fast they tried to catch it, the Bigfoot disappeared behind the trees. They did everything they could, but it outsmarted them in its own home. The hunters learned a valuable lesson that day: never underestimate the creature of the woods. Mexican Sasquatch. An explorer was in the woods when he spotted something moving behind the trees. The heavy movement left no doubt. It was a Sasquatch, one of the most famous mythical beings out there. The creature moved away from the explorer and disappeared into the forest. But that wasn't the end of it. The very same being was later seen by a hiker, moving between the trees. This time, it was clear it owned these woods. It was its home. The hiker realized that if anyone wanted to see it, they only needed to visit and witness it for themselves. Unexpected encounter. In the forests of Canada, a local recording the scenery came across an extraordinary sight. As he filmed, he caught a glimpse of a giant sitting quietly in the bushes and trees before it vanished into the woods.
I started to feel a lot of fear at that point because he was enormous. He was beastly huge.
Intrigued by the sighting, a group of investigators entered into the same forest to investigate the mythical being said to roam the area. Despite their efforts, they couldn't find any trace of it. The creature, known as Bigfoot, only appeared when it chose to, leaving the investigators with nothing but mystery and a deep respect for the forest's secrets. Bigfoot in mountains. While passing through the woods, a local spotted a figure moving among the trees. Initially, he assumed it was someone hiking or perhaps camping nearby, but as he observed more closely, he realized this being was much larger than any human. To his shock, it was none other than Bigfoot. A creature that hardly needs an introduction. Particular one was rumored to be the Jabez Cascade Bigfoot, a legendary figure tied to the Jabez Cascade region. The local froze in place, watching from a distance, hoping not to be noticed. Thankfully, Bigfoot didn't see him, sparing what could have turned into a terrifying encounter for the man. Campus Bigfoot. A treehouse owner in the woods went to check on his treehouse when he heard someone approaching. He quickly hid behind a tree, holding his breath. Out of the woods, a legendary North American wood ape appeared. It was massive, moving silently through the trees. The man knew if the ape spotted him, getting away would be nearly impossible. He remained as still as possible, barely daring to move. As the giant passed by, slowly it disappeared into the woods, leaving the man in awe of the close encounter. He was relieved, but from that day on, he always stayed cautious in the woods. Auburn red Bigfoot. That's why you should never go fishing in the lakes of remote woods. A couple enjoying a quiet day by the water suddenly noticed movement behind them. When they turned to look, they were shocked by what they saw. It wasn't an animal. It was a humanoid figure, standing tall and covered in red fur.
Go!
The couple instantly recognized it. The creature bore a striking resemblance to the infamous Auburn red Bigfoot. Terrified, they turned and started running, but Bigfoot didn't follow. It simply moved in the opposite direction, completely ignoring them as it disappeared into the woods.
Go! Run!
Sasquatch in action. While wandering through the woods, a hiker noticed a figure sitting next to a tree. The being, much larger than the tree itself, seemed calm and relaxed. As the hiker's eyes met with the creature's, a wave of fear washed over him. Without thinking, he turned and ran, hoping he'd never have to return to the woods again. The being he encountered, it was the infamous North American wood ape, simply lounging in its home, unaware of the hiker's panic. For the hiker, it was an unforgettable encounter. Accidental recording. This kid had no idea his video would go viral across the internet. But not because of him. While recording himself in the forest, something unusual happened. In the background, a humanoid figure passed by, towering over the trees. Its movements were quick, but its distinct features caught everyone's attention. People were quick to identify it as the legendary skunk ape, a cryptid often rumored to inhabit swampy forests. Thankfully, it didn't notice the kid and quietly disappeared deeper into the woods. So what started as a simple recording turned into a moment that left the internet buzzing with speculation. Bigfoot sighting. A strange video surfaced online showing a massive figure standing behind the trees in the distance. You can see it was a swamp ape, the mysterious being often mentioned in stories, but never before seen. The figure moved slightly, confirming its identity, but what made everyone confused was who recorded it and where it came from. The footage, though clear, offered no answers about the source or location. It left viewers thinking if this was real evidence of a creature long believed to be a myth, or if it was just another mystery waiting to be solved. Tall creature in desert. A video surfaced online showing someone filming a hill. At first, it seemed like there was nothing to see, but then, out of nowhere, a humanoid figure appeared, moving across the hill. Upon closer inspection, it was clear that this was no ordinary creature. It was a North American wood ape, known for its rare sightings. The being moved swiftly, disappearing behind a tree, and was never seen again. The footage made many confused, as they wondered if this was the proof they had been waiting for, or just another strange, unexplained event. The Sasquatch. In Michigan, a local was walking through the woods when he noticed something large moving in the distance. Despite the thick bushes and trees in front of the creature, it was clear enough to identify what it was: a skunk ape. The creature moved along, unaware of its surroundings, continuing on its path through the dense woods. The local watched quietly from afar, knowing that it was a rare sight. As the skunk ape kept moving, it eventually disappeared behind the trees, leaving the area as mysteriously as it had appeared. Hillside running Sasquatch. On a hillside in California, an unexpected moment was captured on camera. A large orange figure moved quickly, grabbing a sapling as it ran. The strange part? It barely used its long arms, which made its movements look different from anything expected. The origin of the video remains unclear, sparking debates online. Some believe its size could point to a significant discovery, while others argue the unusual motions suggest it could be a hoax. Whatever the truth may be, the mysterious footage continues to spark curiosity and speculation about what was truly filmed that day. Bigfoot camping encounter. While hiking in the woods, a hiker noticed a moving thing toward him from the trees. As it got closer, the being spotted him and quickly ducked behind a tree, peeking out from behind it. The hiker froze for a moment, staring at the creature, and it was clear from its behavior that it was no ordinary animal. Realizing the threat, he knew he had to leave before things escalated. Without wasting another second, he turned and ran, hoping to get out of the woods safely before the creature decided to make its next move. Mysterious hairy creature. You expect to have fun in the woods, especially in winter, but this was the opposite.
That's not human. It's not a human.
An explorer spotted something unusual from a distance, a hairy being emerging from behind the trees. It moved gracefully through the woods, staying hidden among the thick trunks, never stepping into the open where the explorer stood.
That is not a human.
Before he could take a closer look, the being disappeared back into the forest's cover. If you're wondering what it was, the answer is clear. It was a Sasquatch, a legendary being that has been the subject of countless tales. Big friends. You may have heard of strange beings, but seeing them together is a rare sight. In a video from Yellowstone National Park, not one but two massive, ape-like figures were spotted moving far in the distance. Despite being far away, their silhouettes were unmistakable. They were North American wood apes. The figures walked in unison, blending with the vast wilderness. Leaving no doubt about what they were, the video captured their movement for only a few moments before they disappeared from the frame. Shy Bigfoot. While hiking through the woods, a hiker sensed someone watching him. As he turned around, he saw a figure hiding behind the trees, peering out at him.
Whoa. You see what I'm seeing?
But this wasn't a person. It was a large, hairy being trying to remain hidden. Despite its attempt to stay out of sight, the hiker could clearly make out its features. The moment he saw it, he instantly knew what it was: a skunk ape. What made this encounter different from others was how it stayed hidden, never stepping forward like others might. Perhaps this one was more shy than the rest.
It's okay. Why, you can see the white of his eyes in the corner.
Angry Bigfoot. A hunter set up a trail camera near his camp just for protection. Little did he know he would end up capturing something unexpected. The camera recorded a beast standing behind the bushes and trees. A forest giant, ape-like being. At first, it stood still, blending into the surroundings. Then, it suddenly started throwing branches toward the camp, as if warning the hunter to leave. The creature's message was clear, and the hunter, realizing the danger, decided it was time to pack up and go. It was a reminder that in the woods, there are creatures that roam, fiercely guarding their territory. Tall creature. A local spotted a giant figure just beside a tree, but it wasn't standing still. The being seemed to be playing with the branches, hanging from them as if it were part of the forest itself. It didn't notice the local, who stayed quiet, unsure of what to do. After a moment, the locals realized this was no ordinary animal. It was a Sasquatch. Some say these creatures protect the woods, but it was strange to see one out in the open during the day, as Sasquatch are usually elusive, hidden in the forest, away from human eyes. Leaping Bigfoot. A hunter, focused on finding his prey in the woods, suddenly heard strange voices nearby. He kept his eyes fixed on the direction of the sound, and, to his shock, saw a massive, hairy figure jumping heavily in the distance. It quickly disappeared behind the trees. But the strange sightings didn't end there. A tourist visiting the woods later witnessed the same thing: a similar being jumping through the forest and vanishing just as quickly. In both instances, the creature only showed glimpses of itself before disappearing. This was no ordinary animal. It was said to be the Russian Yeti, a mysterious being believed to rule the woods of Russia. Sasquatch stealers. You won't believe this until you see it for yourself. Some friends were hiking in the woods when they spotted two humanoid figures. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but then one of the figures held something in its hand. Upon a closer look, they realized it was a chicken. It was a strange, almost comical scene unfolding in the forest, but the friends quickly recognized what they had seen. These weren't ordinary creatures. They were skunk apes, the famous beings of myth, proving once again that some legends might be real. Demonic beast. You've seen many scary sights, but how would you rate this one? A local found himself face to face with a terrifying being covered in thick hair with glowing red eyes, staring at him in a way that scared him. The creature looked ready to strike. In sheer panic, the local began chanting holy words. Hoping it would keep him safe, but this wasn't just any Yeti. It was a Yeti twisted by evil spirits, far more scary than anyone could imagine. The local knew he had to leave immediately. Anything could happen in that moment, and staying any longer would have been a grave mistake. North Carolina Bigfoot. In August 2019, a man walking in the woods filmed a strange encounter that got people talking.
It's looking over top of that stuff. Look at it.
The creature, towering at about 8 feet, resembled a gorilla, but with unusual traits. It appeared briefly before disappearing into the trees, leaving behind nothing but silence. The man claimed to have also found large footprints, which some experts believed were genuine. However, the figure's size and strange behavior raised doubts. Many suggested it could be the legendary ape-like being, but no one could say for certain. What do you think? Backpacking Bigfoot. A local was hiking on the mountain when he noticed someone walking in the distance.
That's right on the leg. See, just there. Did you see him move?
Initially, it seemed like a normal human, but as he looked closer, he realized it was much larger than any person he had ever seen. The figure moved confidently around the mountain, unaware of being watched. The guy got shocked as he recognized the creature, a Bigfoot.
Does not look like a person. Its arms are way too big. Look at how long the hands hang down.
These elusive beings rarely show themselves, and to see one so close was a rare, unforgettable sight for him. But he knew right away that this was its territory, and he quickly understood just how lucky and cautious he had to be. Hairy standoff.
Thing's kind of creepy. It's like a person's silhouette up in them clouds.
You expect to see weird beings on land, but on the top of a mountain? No way. A construction worker, high on a hill, spotted someone standing on another hilltop.
Thing's kind of creepy. It's like a person's silhouette up in them clouds.
Hidden partly by the clouds. At first, he thought it might be a human, but humans don't usually venture this far up. As he took a closer look, he realized the figure's body resembled the infamous swamp being. It looked like a creature from the legends. He felt a wave of relief, realizing it was on a distant hill, not on his own. Still, the sight left him shaken, knowing such beings might roam the heights. Albino Bigfoot. That's why you should never visit forests at night. While adventuring in the forest, an adventurer noticed a strange sight. Behind the trees, a figure silently watched him. Curious, he turned on his flashlight. To his shock, the light revealed a white beast. No one other than a Yeti itself. The moment the creature realized it was spotted, it quickly turned and ran off, disappearing into the darkness. It was as if it was up to something, but getting exposed forced it to flee. Charging Bigfoot. While hiking through the winter woods, a local spotted something moving quickly through the trees. He squinted to get a better look, but the figure was large and fast. As it neared, he realized with a jolt of fear that it was the legendary Bigfoot, acting in a way that made him feel uneasy. Without thinking, he turned and bolted through the snow. desperate to get away. The cold air stung his face as he ran, but the big question remained unanswered. Did he make it out safely? The snowman? On January 29, 2016, a skier at a resort in Spain's Pyrenees Mountains filmed a brief video showing a figure moving in the snow. The footage quickly sparked debate, with some explorers speculating that it resembled the abominable snowman, or Yeti. The resort launched a search, but found no trace of the creature, assuring guests there was no risk. Despite this, the mysterious sighting has left many thinking what the skier truly encountered. Bigfoot duo. While walking through the woods, a local caught sight of a large black humanoid figure moving between the trees. Initially, he thought it was just one of the legendary beings, but upon a closer look, he realized it wasn't alone. The figure was accompanied by a smaller one, its baby, the duo, a mother and her young one. Both appeared to be Sasquatch, a rare and elusive sight. Just as quickly as they appeared, they disappeared behind the trees. Such moments remind us that there's still much to uncover in the wild, where these mysterious creatures roam. Mexican Bigfoot. In a small town near the mountains in Mexico, an unbelievable thing caught the attention of the entire community. From the top of a mountain, people saw a large, dark figure moving across the rocky terrain. Its movements were unlike any ordinary animal, and the way it moved made it clear it wasn't something they had ever seen before. Word quickly spread, and locals agreed that what they had witnessed was the infamous swamp ape, a creature said to roam the earth. The mysterious being disappeared behind the mountain, leaving the town in awe and thinking if it would ever return. Strange creatures. While boating in the sea, a group of tourists encountered an unsettling sight near a cave opening. They saw several odd-looking beings gathered around, each one different from the other. These creatures were humanoid in shape, but had features resembling monkeys, yet they looked much stranger. As they observed, the beings made strange noises that only added to the mystery. The tourists, feeling uneasy, quickly decided it was time to leave the area, unsure of what exactly they had witnessed, but knowing it was better to be far away from those creatures. Out on a stroll. People visit forests for their breathtaking beauty, not for what happened next. A local was strolling through the woods, taking in the peaceful surroundings, when an odd thing caught his eye. In the distance, he saw a strange figure moving through the trees. The way it moved was unlike anything he'd ever seen before, and it didn't seem to care about its surroundings. With its large, awkward strides, the figure moved on its path without noticing the local. It didn't take long for him to realize what it was. A Sasquatch. But what was it doing there? The mystery remained. Camping encounter. This hiker was wandering through the woods when an odd thing caught his eye. In the distance, a giant, hairy creature moved through fallen trees. It looked like a gorilla, but much bigger. The creature didn't seem to notice him, but the hiker was left standing there, stunned and confused. After a moment, he realized what he had seen: an ape-like being, probably a Sasquatch. His thoughts were interrupted when two researchers investigating strange prints in the woods saw not one, but two giant figures moving up the distant mountain. The creatures were clearly much larger than any human, and there were no reports of anyone hiking in the area at that time.
There were no reports of hikers at that time.
It was clear this was something no one had expected to find. Sad, hairy intruder. While recording from inside his house, a homeowner noticed this. There, sitting on the stairs, was a humanoid figure, brown in color. Startled, he wondered who had entered his home. But as he cautiously moved to another angle to get a better look, he was shocked to see the creature had transformed. It now appeared as a dog, and that's when it clicked in his mind. He was staring at a skinwalker, a being known for its ability to shift shapes. Realizing the risk, he quickly understood that running would be his best option. Hiker encounters Sasquatch. A camper was settling in the woods when he heard something approaching. At first, he thought it was just a wild animal, but as the sounds grew louder, he realized it was far stranger. To his shock, a Sasquatch emerged from the distance, looking as if it was searching for something. Terrified, the camper quickly hid behind a tree, thinking of the creature might be looking for him. What was it really after? And this wasn't an isolated event. Another similar being was spotted in Romania, and sightings like these are becoming more common by the day. Bigfoot tearing apart tree. While wandering through the woods, a local heard strange voices echoing from deep within. Expecting to find another person, he went closer, only to be stunned by what he saw. A massive, hairy creature, much larger than a human, stood in the distance. As he focused on it, he realized it was tearing apart a tree with ease. Knowing he had to act quickly, the local decided that before he became the next thing the creature tore apart, it was better to leave immediately. The woods felt much scarier now. Colossal Bigfoot. A family was enjoying a picnic in the woods when they noticed a brown beast moving in the distance.
What is that?
As it came closer into view, they froze in fear. The creature didn't seem to notice them and kept moving along its way through the woods. Though it didn't react to their presence, the family knew how risky it could be. Without wasting any time, they quickly packed up and backed off, not wanting to risk getting too close to something they couldn't understand. The woods suddenly felt a lot less welcoming. Quincy encounter. In May 2012, 2 campers were in Torrey State Park in Florida, armed with a thermal camera and curious about the strange occurrences rumored in the area. As they explored, odd noises surrounded them, with rustling sounds coming from both sides of the trail. Out of nowhere, a small black figure appeared near a tree before darting across an open clearing. Alarmed, they quickly retreated. But as they reviewed their footage back at the vehicle, they were stunned. The camera had captured what they believed could be proof of the elusive creature, the infamous ape-like being, a legend of the woods. Wisconsin Sasquatch sighting. In the woods of Wisconsin, an adventurer was recording the peaceful surroundings when he spotted an unusual sight. A creature covered in thick hair, moving heavily in the distance. Unlike most, he decided to chase after it, hoping to get a better view. As he ran, he caught a glimpse of the creature, but it vanished behind the trees. Determined, he kept going, but no matter how fast he moved, the creature seemed to stay just out of reach. After a few more attempts, it was clear. The creature was gone, disappearing without a trace. Search for Bigfoot. A local was passing through the neighboring woods when he noticed a strange thing off to the left. A towering figure stood silently, almost blending into the trees. Realizing it was a rare sight, he quickly pulled out his camera. He snapped several photos, hoping to capture the mysterious creature in detail. When he examined the photos later, it was clear. He had caught a glimpse of a Bigfoot, standing tall in the woods. Excited, he couldn't wait to share the pictures with others, thinking if anyone else had witnessed the same. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. While exploring the beauty of Prince Edward Island in Canada, a tourist was recording the serene woods when he suddenly saw a man running toward him, clearly terrified. Behind the man, a humanoid creature with huge muscles appeared.
What the? Dude, holy shit!
Before the tourist could react, the creature noticed him, turned, and disappeared behind the trees as if it had never been there. The tourist, shaken, realized he had just witnessed a Sasquatch.
Did you see that?
and why it vanished so quickly, he knew it was better to leave the area before the creature reappeared.